in addition to that, there is indeed the point of global cooperation. Obviously, what is important, and that is also what the FSB is saying and will continue to say, it is important once we finalize the recommendations before the summer, that is our plan, that is our intention to finalize them before the summer, is that jurisdictions across the world should implement them as much as possible. And so that is important. That is, let's say, the first line of defense, making sure that they are implemented as much as possible, those recommendations across the globe. We have heard various stories. There's already been some jurisdictions that have implemented dedicated rules and regulations for crypto assets and stablecoins. Depending on your regulatory system, they may already be covered to some extent. And so, but that is the baseline, is to make sure that the recommendations are implemented. At the same time, of course, there is the issue is that there may be some incentives for some smaller, lightly regulated jurisdictions to maintain their stance and trying to attract some crypto business. And I think we need to think about how to go about that issue. I think it's not sufficient to just stay and continue to make the point, you need to implement this. I think one way to look at this is to say, well, maybe you should take into account that, let's say, in your jurisdiction, that the jurisdictions that implement those standards, they can only allow their traditional financial institutions to get exposures to crypto assets and stablecoins coming from those jurisdictions where they are regulated. And so, of course, we have seen these mechanisms also in other parts of the financial system. There are some ways to address issues with jurisdictions that are not willing to implement rules and regulations, and to find some mechanisms. I think we're in the middle of thinking about that. We had some discussions on that in the FSB. We haven't finalized our thought on this, but clearly, for me, it's clear that just saying, implement these rules and regulations is not going to be sufficient. We also need to have some mechanism where, for example, you limit the opportunities for the traditional financial sector in regulated jurisdictions to get exposures to crypto assets and stablecoins from those jurisdictions that do not implement regulations.